How's everybody doing?
We coolin'.
We just want to rep to whoever owns the Volvo, man, about the tents. That's it. You all doing all right?
Damn.
Yeah, that's it, my man. We're not worried about a little bit of weed or anything, the open containers or whatever. That's it, just the tents, man.
That person over there. What you doing over there? That person in the building somewhere.
They're inside?
Yeah, they over there.
The doors were open when you came up, man.
For sure, they must be rain from.
Okay.
That car ain't here for y'all to be searching.
Yeah.
Everybody got IDs and stuff like that.
What's the call, sir?
Came over here for that ID. Coming over here to us.
What's the ID for?
We ain't loitering either.
Search and stop at first. I remember you from
You said you was stopping for them tents.
12 shirts. Yeah, that sound like jump out cycles. What you think? ID, stop and frisk.
Don't show him, bro. Don't show him.
Trying to send a no search section, bro, man. Yeah, ice cream. Yeah, I ain't commit no crime. I ain't considered no search. Damn.
All right, so everybody, let's calm down, okay? Now, go ahead, just sit down.
This nigga's crazy.
So I'm definitely gonna need your ID. All right, but you're not in trouble right now.
Man, hold the fuck up.
Hey, come on.
You don't have the ID. Damn.
All right, can you stand up for me? Based on
Big dog, you
what
got
I
a weapon on your mouth.
I need you to stand up.
Nah, but
You mind showing me your waistband?
don't touch him, bro. We ain't even doing nothing.
That's your waistband, sir.
What's the call, bro?
Well, right now we just found one.
I don't care. I don't know him.
And he's hanging out with y'all.
He not hanging with
All
us.
this stuff that's out here, plus you sitting in front of an area.
She said we can sit right here,
I
bro.
don't think so.
Call her and ask her.
I don't think so.
Call Miss Dapper and
That's
ask her.
your waistband.
I ain't showing you my waistband, bro, because I ain't do nothing, bro.
Listen, my man, I want to explain it to you so you can be on the same page.
Nigga crazy as shit, yo.
That man was just walking past, man. That man was just walking past, man. Y'all caught him in the moment, man.
Because I have enough suspicion to press you based on that. I want to limit that. I don't want to put hands on you.
But you guys are doing right here every day. We let you sit there, we let you do your thing.
Man, no, listen.
I don't know nothing about what the fuck just happened, young.
Mo, this nigga crazy.
Like, young. What the fuck?
Stop the frisk report.
Man, fuck no.
Don't touch him. Don't touch him.
Don't approach. You can video back up. Back up, brother. You can video. That's right. No, back up right here. I'm telling you to back up over here. You're approaching. Wait a minute. Listen,
Oh man, y'all put me far enough.
no, step back behind the line.
I can't see.
Go that way, go that way. You need to back up, okay? You need to back up. Let's go back.
Bro, don't touch me, bro.
Because you're not listening to my orders. No, just pick up the chair and go. That's too close. Go to the edge of the building right here.
Nah.
Right here.
Check the bag.
Don't touch my bag, bro. Why you touching my bag, bro? Ain't
You have
nothing
ID on
in
you?
it. Nah,
Based on the gun I recovered off the guy.
I don't care. That wasn't me. Get off me, bro. Get off me. You're not touching. Get off me. What you talking about, bitch ass?
Nobody got shit right here, bro. Get the fuck on up. I'm touching motherfucker. But y'all don't realize this. This is not your. This is
It don't matter. She ain't called you. Fuck you talking about. She said we can sit right here. Did you get a call about loitering right here? All right then. Fuck off then.
You can have your video and do whatever you want. But
Yeah, I know. Back up.
this is not a weed spot. This is not a place.
Yeah, we never said it was. We chilling. Fuck you talking about.
We're going down the street.
Hey, excuse me, sir, that's mine. That's mine. In your hand.
You got ID?
No, I don't have my ID. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I'm 21 years old. 426. Y'all can put my name up in the system. Y'all do it any other time. Come on,
That
man.
nigga crazy.
The plenty of times I didn't have my ID. I had
Get up, man. This stuff, man.
Come on, man.
What is it?
Man, what brother they got the dog on though? Fuck, he was with them, mo?
I'm telling you,
Real live,
I
ho?
was with them, bro.
Real live, ho? That nigga gone, bro. That nigga gone, bro.
I'm right here. The red one.
I'm just making sure everything is
Why
safe.
not going on?
It don't even matter. Weed. Fuck you talking about. That's somebody weed out here.
I'm not doing
Every
that.
day's been advocacy.
Shut the fuck up.
That's what I'm telling you.
Get the fuck.
Give him the weed. No. Okay. My name is Weed. Stop touching those, man.
I'm not going to step back.
Don't
Step
touch
back.
me. I don't gotta back up.
You need to
Unless
step
you
back.
touching me. I'm touching you. Oh, why you touching me?
Don't provoke my man to try to hit you either. No
touching
chest
that
bump
woman?
me.
Why you-
No chest bump me.
touching
We
that
got
woman?
that shit on
Hey,
camera.
get the fuck
Why you
off that.
touching them, bro?
What? You old man. What?
Why you touching them, bro?
Get back. Stay over there. You're not scaring me.
You's a hoe, nigga. Back up. Fuck you talking about? Get the fuck out my face, nigga. Fuck. Yeah. He got me. He got me. Back up. Don't touch me.
Get out
Don't
my
fucking
face.
touch me.
Get out my
Don't
face.
fucking
Get out my
touch me.
face.
Don't touch me.
Get out.
Bitch ass nigga. You's a hoe. You's a hoe. Man, get the fuck off my phone, man. Hey, Mo.
Yeah, we got all that shit. Y'all good. Roll out. Roll the
You look
fuck out.
angry. You look angry. I'm not angry.
Roll the fuck out.
Stand back. You need to back off.
Can I get your badge now?
Back off.
Can I get your badge now?
Yes, 1449.
What's your name? What's your name?
It's
What?
Delta.
You out here assaulting
Go on back.
You out here assaulting pedestrians. Fuck piece of shit.
Fuck, man. I ain't got shit for y'all right here. Y'all can roll out now.
Everybody up. Clear the street.
Take y'all man from y'all too.
Come in.
You clear the street. You roll the fuck out. We did it.
Stop the threat. Okay?
You fake because you police. Roll the fuck out. What the fuck happened here?
Man, Snuff. Hey, Mo, that nigga was with them, hoes. Fuck that other nigga at, man. Fuck that nigga at. That nigga was with them, hoes. That nigga was with them, hoes. That nigga was with them. They won't smack up on your man, hoes. This nigga crazy as shit. I could tell he was with them, bro. They ain't even pull their guns out when they saw this nigga had a gun.
Where you at now?
That nigga gone, fool.
Where the gone?
Nigga is gone, bro.
Hey, Bob.
That nigga is gone, ho. I swear to God, that nigga is gone, bro.
That's in Vegas, somebody. That ain't even know what that ain't got nothing to do with us. That ain't got nothing to do with us.
Breaking and entering.
Breaking and fucking entering.
Get him.
Breaking and fucking entering.
Stop what y'all doing. Oh, that's what
What
they
y'all
from.
doing, Mo? What the? Oh, no.
Y'all feel me? Y'all take me. If I lose it,
Nah, Slim.
I'm not going to go get another one.
Fuck no, Slim.
It's in my house.
Hey, Mo, they crazy as shit, Mo.
My name is Imam Akbar Abdullah Kareem Bilal. I am the National Chief of Staff for the new Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. We've been brought here to Sheriff Road and Eastern to bring the attention to the corridor that exists between Eastern Avenue and Sheriff, which extends itself through Minnesota Avenue all the way to Good Hope Road. And there have been many incidents of all flavors. I think the Trumpism idea is both sides. Well, right now the community side and the police side, we're taking a look at what is real police work in the black community and what is not by the book. We talk about revolution by the book and then going by the book and the good book, but there are violations of excessive force, abuse of power, unethical conduct, malfeasance, meaning a conduct that's been done by a paid or an elected official which is unbecoming or which abandon what you call the volition or the will of we the people. And to put the record straight, I guess the divine had an incident to come about to bring community attention to the 5200 block of Sheriff Road, and where there has been some illegal procedures, and we are trying to see now has this been endorsed by the chief of police? Is this what we say is normal police procedure, or is there some violation or some signs of unethical conduct? And is there misuse or abuse of the DC MPD, Metropolitan Police Department uniform? what is the conduct? We need to know the code or the ethics, or what is the conduct of a police officer in the black community. And so we have come today to just put some emphasis on what has taken place so far and what we perceive to be what will be the future relationship between the black community and the Metropolitan Police Department here in Washington, D.C. So we are gathered here today. We have the representative, the Lost Foundation of Islam. We have the Community Development, the Black Panther Party, the Black Lawyers for Justice, and we have with us the attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, who had taken a personal interest and began to look into some of the police matters right in our own neighborhood, right here in Northeast Washington, D.C. So we're thankful for you all who have showed up from the press to put some more information in the community as to how we should proceed, how we are to be approached by the police, what we are to do in case we are approached by the police, and then what is the conduct of an officer. We are still investigating what is the right conduct of a police officer in uniform. So right this afternoon, we have with us live our beloved attorney, the president of the Black Lawyers for Justice. We want to present to you our attorney, Malik Zulu Shabazz. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and power to people. Black power.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you, sir.
Come on, gentlemen.
Come on, sir.
All right. Afternoon to
Good afternoon, sir.
black press in general. We are here. I've called this news conference about the events of June 13th that came to light on June 22nd. On June 13th, right here at this location, there was a wild attack by the Metropolitan Police Department upon citizens of the District of Columbia and residents of this community. There was a rogue attack, a wild attack by members of the Metropolitan Police Department and the Gun Recovery Unit as they violated the Fourth Amendment rights, the constitutional rights, and they violated the human rights of the people who were here, who were seen on that now infamous video that has gone viral throughout the city. And we saw on June 13th, we saw these officers without reasonable suspicion, without probable cause. We saw them detain illegally, search illegally, assault illegally members of this community. And that's why I, on behalf of Black Lawyers for Justice, am here. We are here to declare to the Chief of Police, Newsham, and to the Metropolitan Police Department that Black Lawyers for Justice and the other organizations who are here, that we will not sit back and allow a out-of-control police department to violate the constitutional rights of members of this community. We're just not going to tolerate it. So we have launched an official civil rights and human rights investigation into everything that has happened here. We have interviewed many. We have interviewed and contacted many who were even arrested in retaliation. Many who had cell phones slapped and knocked out of their hand by Metropolitan Police Department officers. So again, we have residents who were illegally searched, residents who were assaulted, pushed around, shoved, residents who were held against their will for an unreasonable amount of time. We have residents who had their cell phones knocked out of their hands and slapped around by the Metropolitan Police Department. And we have launched this investigation, and we will pursue litigation against the Metropolitan Police Department for their actions. And we're not going to tolerate it, and we're going to look into this, and we're going to file litigation on behalf of any of the victims if they so choose. So that is a fundamental statement today that we have investigated. We have found, again, that the District of Columbia
Metropolitan Police Department officers, the Gun Recovery Unit, violated the 4th Amendment and constitutional rights of those that were here, that they assaulted those who were here. We allege that Peter Newsham has failed to train, Newsham has failed to monitor, Newsham has failed to supervise his officers, and thereby they have been let loose to commit crimes inside of the community and to intimidate members of this community. And Black Lawyers for Justice and attorney Shabazz are not going to tolerate it. I have with me the new Black Panther Party Chief of Staff, National Chief of Staff, Akbar Bilal, and I have from the Nation of Islam, the Chief Minister of the Nation of Islam, Minister Najee Muhammad. That's N-A-J-E-E Muhammad, who will speak to us next. My name again is Malik Shabazz, M-A-L-I-K, last name S-H-A-B-A-Z-Z, and I am an attorney pursuing the investigation and legal action. I now present to you Mr. Minister Najee Muhammad from the Nation of Islam.
Okay. Thank you very much. To the press, we are tired of the rogue cops running to and fro through our community. We're tired of them violating the constitutional rights of members of the Black community. I was at home earlier today and I decided to bring a book, and the title of this book is Breaking Rank by Norman Stamper. He is a retired police chief of Seattle, Washington. And Mr. Stamper wrote a chapter in this book, Why White Cops Kill Black Men. Now, why would a white police chief, why would he write a chapter titled Why White Cops Kill Black Men? Because it's the truth. It's the truth. This ongoing killing has to stop. The ongoing brutality has to stop. 463 years of injustice. How long do Black people supposed to continue to accept this? I say to you today that the Black community should unite across America and say no more.
Yes, sir.
No more. We're not taking it anymore. 463 years of injustice. We don't share Donald Trump's vision of America. We're tired of Donald Trump's his vision. We don't share that vision. So I say to you that there's another book that I brought with me. And the title of this book is In Fear of African American Men. And it talks about the 4 fears that trigger, the 4 things that trigger fears in white cops. And one of those fears is anger, strength, intelligence, and anger. Those are the fears, or the things that trigger the fears in white cops against black men. And I'm here to say to the world that we are human beings. We are human beings. And we want to be treated like human beings. So I thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so that's where we are. That's where we are. Are there any questions? Come on, Ms. Pollard.
As far as the litigation, do you know what the next step is yet?
If the results of our investigation prove what we believe is true, what we've seen on video and what we've had from eyewitnesses, then upon the completion of our investigation, which is being pursued diligently, then litigation will be filed. Right now we're asking the Metropolitan Police Department Chief Newsham and the mayor herself to give us all relevant documents, all relevant reports, and all information that we are requesting, and we will report back. So right now we are doing what is called a full and complete investigation, using the information acts available to us to gain everything that exists in the incident so that we can make our determination. Right now, we're sure that probable cause and reasonable suspicion, meaning stopping persons without a reasonable suspicion that racial profiling is going on in the District of Columbia, and it consistently goes on, and it means that an officer, and that these officers search people, seize people without right and without their permission. And that's going on, and it's a policy in the district. It's not just an individual day or individual acts on the day of June 13th that we allege that this is a policy and it's a practice of the Metropolitan Police Department, and it has to come to an end because it's against the United States Constitution. And if we have to pursue it to the Supreme Court, we will, to make sure that the people here in this ward, in this area of the city, are treated with the same dignity and respect as they are in any other area of the city. There's another resident here, Miss Pollard here, who wants to speak to other police reforms as part of the anti-police brutality movement here in the district.
Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Jeanette Pollard, and I am a member of the community. I have lived in this area. I have also lived in other major cities, and it's the same. The police are out of control against black people, African American people. They are targeted, and part of my mission is to make sure that police across this country are licensed and insured so that when they commit these acts of brutality against the community, that they will be held accountable, just as I am as a registered nurse. I am held accountable for the acts that I commit against patients, and I have to have my liability insurance. Police officers across this country should have the same, have to have the same kind of insurance and have the same liabilities when they assault and terrorize community members, particularly the African American community. If you want more information, you can contact me at 240-470-3023, or my assistant with this project, Mr. Sharif Shafi, at 202-487-7778. We have contacted constitutional and lawyers who specialize in police brutality. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, final questions here.
Yes, Attorney Shabazz, in light of the fact that white police in particular don't have a history, white people in general and the police department do not have a history of treating our people fairly in the community. Is there something that we can put in place to try to push them out in Virginia and let them police their own people and get the hell away from us?
I think you speak to a premise that has long been advocated in our community, that officers from the community or the black community must produce the officers that patrol the community. I wish I could say that if it was an all-black police force from Washington, D.C. policing these areas, that things would change. I wish it was. However, the facts are somewhat different. The sad fact of the matter is, on that video, that there were many black officers from the Metropolitan Police Department that participated in the assaults and the violation of constitutional rights on that day. I have other cases in the federal courts here of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, and as many times as it's a white officer on the end of the defendants list, it is a black officer as well. And we allege that all of the Metropolitan Police Department officers, whether they are black or white, are engaging in racial profiling, that they are using a stereotypical model of a black male and then deciding that that black male does not have to have a reasonable suspicion to be stopped, that they can go ahead and search him, that they can go ahead and seize him, that they can go ahead and abuse his rights. Black and white officers. So my friend, what I'm saying to you is that it's not, we move beyond changing the color of police officers in the black community as a remedy. We have reached a point now when we call on the Washington, D.C. community right here and those, that if this problem is going to stop, it's going to take a collective community effort. It's going to take attorneys and lawyers to fight for rights. It's also going to take the people to stand up for themselves. And you cannot be intimidated by the 6th District Police Department in standing up for yourself. If you don't stand up to the Metropolitan Police Department and stand up to the 6th District Police Department, they will run roughshod over you every day and every night. So it's going to take attorneys, it's going to take the community standing up, and it's going to take a few other things. It's going to take a collective effort to force the District of Columbia Metropolitan Police Department to do right. The city council members that are over this district, Council Member Vincent Gray, his help is needed. The mayor must speak stronger to this, and the citizens must make, yes sir, and the citizens must make their elected officials accountable. And so as much as I am for legal advocacy and litigation, I'm for community organizing and taking charge in these areas to clean these areas up. And the next time they come out here abusing people and violating people, it will be a stronger resident, a stronger black man and woman here that will repel them in every way, and it will never happen again. And so a stronger stand must be taken in every way. I don't think we have much help coming from the top, to be honest. Other questions? Mr. Muhammad? Any?
You, sir, have you personally experienced any type of confrontation with the police in this area?
That's a very good question. I have not personally had confrontations with the police in this area, although I've had confrontations with police officers. And I know this area well, as I am a property owner in this area. I'm a business owner in this area. And I have many cases that are in courts right now that speak to this same problem. And the same problem is that Peter Newsham and his officers have been turned loose. They have been turned loose.
If you were stopped by the police, can you speak to how an individual should act?
In my book, what black people need to know when dealing with the police, I outline the steps that brothers and sisters, community members should take. And I thought the men on that day, on June 13th, I thought the men on that day acted appropriately. They said that we do not want to be searched. We have done nothing wrong. That's what I teach in the book, to announce your intent to the police. You don't have to speak to the police officers, but you have every right to tell them that you're doing nothing wrong and you desire not to be searched. Now that's all on the video. There's a man on the video with a BB gun who is a suspected informant or a suspected agent that none of the men know, that all of a sudden appears amongst the men before the officers appear. And that's not a coincidence to us. And this same individual that the BB gun was taken from was allowed to get away, raising the suspicion that he was an agent and he was planted amongst the men to be used to get at the men. Either way you slice it, probable cause or reasonable suspicion on one man is not applicable to all the men. And just because you are interested in one man does not mean that you can violate 10 or 20 men. Yes, sir. And we, right now, is that right?
Unconstitutional.
All right.
Black power.
This does not happen in Georgetown. This does not happen in the 2nd District. There is no way on hell on U Street, Washington, D.C., on a Friday night when there are crowds of drunken Caucasians on U Street, there is no way that the Metropolitan Police Department would seek to arrest or detain one man, and by that action they would sweep into a crowd of 20 or 30 Caucasians in the district. That does not happen in the district, and it must not happen here. And we have to be ensured that it does not happen. So they acted in accordance, my brother. They acted with the rules. They said they did not want to be searched. They said they were doing nothing wrong. They said that they desired to leave, and the police ignored everything. They ignored every one of their rights, and they began shoving them, grabbing them, detaining them, pushing them, slamming their cell phones to the ground. And then retaliatory arrests came to other men, came back the next day and just started arresting people, and those charges were what? No paper. Charges didn't even stick, but they came back to intimidate, and they have been out here intimidating prior to this news conference. But they have not intimidated the brothers and sisters who are right here. We are not intimidated by the 6th District. We are not intimidated by Newsom. We call for Newsom's resignation.
Yes, sir. Right.
We call for Newsom's resignation.
Right.
Any final questions? And well, I think Mr. Muhammad, though, I've given my opinion on how we should act, but I will let. That's one of my opinions, to be honest. That is one of my opinions on how to act, and I'll reserve my other opinions for another time, and I'll turn it to Mr. Muhammad.
Thank you very much. I have been stopped by the police, and when they stop me, I simply comply. They approach me and ask me for my driving license, insurance card, registration card. I give my documents to the police, and this is what they want. This is what I give them, and I go on my merry way. I really don't have any problems with them. I look at it like this. This is just me talking now. I have a daughter, young daughter. I want to see her graduate from college. I want to walk her down the aisle. So when the police officer stopped me, I'm going to give him what he wants, and that's it. So I can walk my daughter down the aisle. I don't have time to be arguing with no police. Here you go, this is what you want. You want the license, you want the registration. Here you go, sir. And that's it. Now, if he violates my constitutional rights, I'm going to call attorney Malik, Zulu, Shabazz to handle that.
Yes, sir.
Do you hear me?
Good call. Good call.
That's what I learned from the late, great Johnny Cochran. And it's from that same, well, this is not this book right here. It's the other book. But that's how I would deal with it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And that's good. And we're what's called reasonable people. But I want to say that if the District of Columbia police officers continue to use aggressive and violent tactics against persons who have done nothing wrong and tell them that they're doing nothing wrong, and the MPD continues to use violence, what we're hearing in the community is that the safety of these officers will be in jeopardy.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So I want to be clear that these actions, yes, they could be met legally in the courtroom. Yes, they will be met by community activism. But what we're hearing is that if they don't stop violating the rights of the citizens in this community, the citizens, not us, the citizens have reported to us that the safety of these officers could be in jeopardy. And that's all we have to say here today.
Thank you.